Hello. Welcome. Happy Saturday. Happy May 4th weekend. We're live. Facebook and YouTube.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are.
Yeah. Wherever you happen to be. Okay. Just want to make sure my links I put out work okay. Looks good to me. Alright, cool. There's Josh. There's 2Med2. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Alright. Okay. Oh, I think I'm ready when you are.
Good to go.
I am recording. There's Roar Farm Boy. How we doing?
RFB.
In the house. Alright, well, I'm gonna hit the intro. You ready?
Ready to go. Episode 27.
Yeah. And off we go.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 27 of the From a Certain Point of View podcast. I'm Josh,
I am Adam.
and we're once again so excited to be here talking Star Wars today. We got a lot going on in today's show. First of all, Adam, what have you been up to in Star Wars this week?
Been doing some reading. I've read more of Black Spire, which I'm enjoying, and I'm very glad I'm reading that before I actually visit Galaxy's Edge. Because it's really making me want to go and explore and see how many of those story elements in this book are connected to the park itself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really been exciting.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. And then the book club this week started Alphabet Squadron, which in no way was meant to line up with what the original, with what the official Star Wars account did.
I think it
with the
was
Star
our
Wars
idea
show.
first anyway.
I have the Discord timestamps. I can prove it. But yeah, we started reading Alphabet Squadron this week. There it is.
I like that cover.
It's a beautiful cover, and Shadowfall
Yeah.
I think is even better.
Yeah, I saw the Kindle edition was for sale for like $5, so I was thinking
Oh,
about picking it up.
yeah, pick it up.
I'm a slow reader. I'm no good at keeping up with book clubs, obviously from the
Yeah,
novelization
no,
of
that's fine.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll have to let me know if it's
So
worth a
far,
read.
it's good. We're only
I've
two
heard
chapters
good things
in,
about that one too.
so
Yeah.
I caved and bought the entire set of digital 4K movies last night, so I'm gonna start watching them all again
There you go.
in
Why not?
4K. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
And
tempted.
this isn't really me. This is kind of an us thing, but I just wanted to throw this in because our Twitter account rolled over 300 followers last night, which is
Did we? I was
super
wondering if we were going to
exciting.
hit that mark.
Yep.
That is.
It was early this morning. I was still asleep, and it rolled over. We're now at almost like 310. So
That's
got a little
awesome.
extra change there, which is really cool because only 4 weeks ago we rolled over 200. So
Yeah.
pretty exciting stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, I was hoping that would happen. So May 4th weekend we could celebrate a little bit, and we can.
Absolutely.
So what
We'll
have you
have
been
to
up to?
celebrate with some blue milk.
Yeah,
Um,
I have it. I'm gonna bring it
yeah,
over, and we're gonna toast with some blue milk.
can't wait. So,
And
I've been up to
before
what I've
we
been up
move on,
to.
real
Oh
quick,
yeah,
I just want to say thank you to everyone on Twitter to help get the word out and
yeah.
retweet that stuff. And just we couldn't have done it without that help and support. So
Absolutely. Thank you
yeah,
out there for your support.
yeah. So what have
Um,
you been up to?
well, I finished my catch up of Clone Wars finally, so I've watched every episode of Clone Wars now. I also finished the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker finally, so we would be able to do like a full spoiler review at
Cool.
some point in the near future.
Yeah, I think that might.
A poll result.
Yeah, pretty good poll
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, this was a good poll. We got a lot of action on it.
Yep.
And our question for this week's poll was, what has been your favorite episode of the Clone Wars season 7 so far?
And
And I did put
this
the
was
option
asked
in there.
before Shattered. So
Yeah, keep that in mind.
yeah.
We'll have to do another one. um, but yeah, the options were I just tried to pull like at least one from each arc. Um, and one from each arc that I thought was kind of maybe the best. And then, so it was just my opinion, but we had A Distant Echo, Together Again, Old Friends Not Forgotten, and then Phantom Apprentice. And it was really no surprise to me that
Yeah.
Phantom Apprentice won this poll with 89%. Um, Old Friends Not Forgotten had 11% of the vote, and then the other two had zero. Now, I went with Old Friends Not Forgotten because, Adam, I absolutely loved that episode. It just
Hmm.
felt very Star Wars to me, and the music and the action and certain character moments I loved. But I've loved every episode in this arc so far. Um,
Yeah, it's been tough because it's like each week. I don't know how it happens because it's been just topping each other each week, and for me, I
yeah,
went Phantom Apprentice, but
hmm
man,
which was also fantastic.
it
Yeah,
might have been hard to not choose Shattered if
yeah,
if that was out when we put the poll out. So
yeah. I'm looking forward to talking about Shattered here later on the show.
yeah,
And speaking of the show, can you tell us what's going on this week in the show?
yeah, absolutely. We've got some news to talk about. We got some movies, games, and parks. And we'll cover a few stories in each of those. And then, like you said, we're going to talk Shattered, the newest episode of Clone Wars, episode 11. We're only one more episode away from Clone Wars finally being officially fully over. So we're getting there. And then we have a new Psychology of segment that we're going to do. If you remember, we did a few weeks back, we did the Psychology of Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. And this week, we're going to do the Psychology of Darth Maul and Ahsoka Tano. We'll kind of look at those two characters and how they tick, what makes them go.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So let's go ahead and dive into our news segment.
Is that playing?
I'm not hearing it.
Okay.
Okay, it's like I'm still
Well,
not hearing it
you
really,
want the
but
bad news or the
a little
really
bit.
bad news?
Go ahead.
Okay, so our first article today and by the way, our news is brought to you by Far Far Away News, a great Star Wars website.
Who also
And
redesigned their site this week, and it's looking pretty
yeah,
nifty.
yeah, they had a nice update.
Yep.
But our first article actually comes from Star Wars Newsnet, but it's about the Rise of Skywalker being released on Disney Plus. And it seems like it's earlier than it was supposed to be.
It's definitely
Um,
earlier than I expected it to be.
right.
But May 4th
But
makes sense.
I thought it was a great move to put it out on
Mm-hmm.
May 4th as
Yep.
well. Of course, the 4K version will be up on there as well. Um, So I'm looking forward to being able to kind of watch all these movies on Disney Plus now at this point,
Yeah.
unless I decide to cave and also buy the digital versions like you did, my friend.
Yeah.
Um, Next up, we had an article from Far Far Away News about some other content that's coming to Disney Plus on May the 4th that we can look forward to. So each film and series artwork will be updated on May the 4th to feature original concept paintings. And they had a nice some preview images on Far Far Away News about
Yeah.
what that's going to look like. We're going to get updated art from artists like Ralph McQuarrie and Doug Chang as well.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to seeing that stuff.
Yeah,
Looks
and
pretty neat from the images that I'm
oh,
looking
it
at
looks
right now.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, we're also getting episode 1 of Disney Gallery: The Mandalorian, a docu-series on the
Yep.
making of that show.
Yep.
And the second episode will air a few days later on May 8th.
Nice.
And I know we are looking forward to checking that out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention Clone Wars episode 12 is Monday too, the 4th. So,
Yeah, yes. I didn't mention that. So
the
we'll have the
4th
finale
is
on May the 4th. May the
yeah.
4th, man, it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, yeah, it's jumping this year for sure.
Mhm. Absolutely. Next up, we're going to talk about some news in games.
Mhm.
And the first one is about Fallen Order.
Yeah.
And we might be looking at a sequel. Now, I had a feeling this might happen based on the success of the first one, but it says lead producer of Jedi Fallen Order, Rich Fim, announced that he's looking for a game writer at Respawn and is asking for a qualified applicant to come join the Star Wars team. So this seems to indicate that we are going to get a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, possibly. What are your thoughts on this, Adam?
0% surprised. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I'm excited.
Probably 2 years from now.
Yeah.
They have that Project Maverick that we were talking about a while ago. I would imagine that's next,
Hmm.
since that seems to be farther along in the development cycle. So, barring anything unforeseen, um, I would imagine that the Maverick project is coming up next, and then Fallen Order. And
Yeah.
then EA's contract with Lucasfilm actually ends, so it depends on
Hmm.
what happens with any agreements there. What happens with Star Wars games beyond that. So,
Sure. What would you like to see, Adam? Do you want to see EA continue, or would you like to see it maybe shift to another company?
um, actually, what want to happen, and actually, what I kind of think would happen is that um, Disney doesn't reach an agreement with any one company. That they start licensing out Star Wars to multiple companies, and I forget what conference they were at a few months ago, but their lead, and I'm not going to remember his name, but their lead that oversees like the interactive and the video game stuff, kind of said as much. Like their philosophy going forward is that they want people to come and play, and what they mean by that is they want people to come and use their IPs, and IP would be intellectual property.
Hmm.
They want people to come and use those properties, and they'll license us out, you know, on a case by case basis. So, I think
Yeah.
that's what I would want to see, and let it branch out a bit, let it breathe.
Yeah. I mean, we could see a lot of different kinds of games and different, and
Yeah.
good quality that way by
Yep.
allowing that to happen. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Fallen
Absolutely.
Order. Yeah, and I still think that m- Project Maverick game, I still think it's going to be a starfighter game of some type. That's what I'm
Yeah.
leaning towards. But
And that seems to be like the number one guess out there right
yeah,
now too. It's like a
yeah,
dogfighting type game, which I'm
mm,
totally on
yeah,
board
that'd be
with.
cool. Makes
Yep.
sense.
I would love that.
Um, Also in games, we have a Battlefront 2 update that released this week.
Yeah.
We have the planet Scarif, which is featured in many different game modes. We also have updates to instant action, so you can jump into some of the like Age of Rebellion planets and do instant action. You can do instant action on Scarif.
Hmm.
Um, there's like objective mode or something like that. And basically it's pretty much just like capturing um what do you call them, like capturing different posts or whatever.
Like
um
objectives. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's pretty much all the same, but it's cool. i
Yeah.
i played that a bit. We have a new Ray skin where she has the her crafted yellow lightsaber. We have a new Emperor skin that looks like his outfit, from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So I got on there, I played a little bit, I enjoyed it. looking forward to playing some more. And I will say this is Battlefront 2's final update.
Hmm.
Um, and the game will continue to be playable online and everything
Yeah.
and multiplayer. But I think they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with the game.
Yeah, it's lasted them 2 years now, and Respawn's done an incredible job bringing that game back from where
Mm-hmm.
it was at launch, because it was in a really dire situation at launch, and they've done a great job with it. So it's had at this point it's had a good life, and it's 2 years for a game like that is pretty good. So
Yeah.
the servers will still be there. You can still play it. It's not like you can't play it anymore. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I'll probably be playing that for years to come. And our final piece of news concerns the parks and specifically Galaxy's Edge. This is kind of interesting because when I first thought about Star Wars Land coming to the Disney parks, my thought was maybe this will be like kind of like a greatest hits of Star Wars.
Hmm.
You'll be able to like go into the cantina on Tatooine. Maybe you'll be able to visit some place that looks like Hoth or something like that. Or have kind of like different planets featured. Um, so this article from Far Far Away News says former Disney World VP Dan Cockerell
Yep.
told WDW the original plan for Star Wars Land was centered around Tatooine, complete with plans for a Mos Eisley cantina that was going to sit across from Star Tours. However, Bob Iger met with Kathleen Kennedy and the idea was scrapped. Kennedy stated that there were way more Star Wars stories ahead of Disney rather than behind them, and maybe they shouldn't create a theme park land themed to Tatooine and kind of limit it in that way. So,
Yeah.
we were kind of talking earlier about Black Spire,
Hmm.
and going to Galaxy's Edge. What are your thoughts about all this, Adam? Do you like what they did with Star Wars Land being Galaxy's Edge, or would you have rather
I
seen
Yeah, I do.
something else?
So
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I want to backstep a little bit. This actually came. This is on a personal note, but this came from WDW Radio, which is hosted by Lou Mongello. That's actually the very first podcast I ever listened to, way back in 2008.
Nice.
He's been doing that for a while. It's a great show. He does all things Disney history, trivia, all of it, from a very positive outlook. And it's one of we had Dan Zaret on, and I kind of modeled my podcasting style after both him and Lou, and they've worked together as well. But Lou's just a great at this, and he has top notch guests on like Dan Cockerell. And but yeah, getting back to the question, I do like it. And I was watching the Imagineering story on Disney Plus this week,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's episode 5 or 6 where they start getting into the Star Wars stuff.
That's an incredible documentary, by the way.
It's very good, very good.
So good.
But one of the things that sticks out to me about this is that they wanted you to go and live your own story in Galaxy's
Mm-hmm.
Edge, and
Yep.
not feel like you're observing. There's a lot of times in Disney and parks where you're going and you're watching something, like you're a passive observer. You're watching things happen around you. Think like Magic Kingdom. If you happen to get on like a Peter Pan or a Dumbo, or something like that. Not Dumbo, that's a bad example, but Peter Pan, or Winnie the Pooh was one, and stuff like that. You're watching the story unfold. Um, I think what they've done gives you a chance to go and actually be a part of the story. Be involved, to get in there, to make your lightsaber, to put together a droid, to go stay on a star cruiser, and then feel like you're on a cruise, and get have your excursion on Black Spire, and then come back. So I think that's a much more immersive way of doing things than just copying what we've already seen, and going, oh hey, I've seen that before. That's kind of cool. Get a picture of that real quick. This gives you the chance to live it. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. At first, I thought I wanted the other version, but
Yeah,
the more I think about it, I'm really excited to visit what we did get, and
right.
I'm hoping with the plans to reopen Disney in phases that come September, I'll be in a situation where I'm still able to go there.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm really looking forward to it. I
yeah,
can't wait to live my own Star Wars experience, and I like what they've done with it.
yeah. Real quick before we move on, that's the last news article, right?
That is our
Okay,
last
cool.
piece of news.
Going back to the May 4th stuff real quick. 2 put in chat that Monday, May 4th, is also Tatooine Sons, which is a great podcast.
Hmm.
Are making a big debut on Facebook, doing Facebook
Nice.
Live. We're streaming on Facebook right now, and they're making the switch to Facebook as well. So I think that's 8 p.m. Monday night. So tune in
Okay, yeah,
to
tune into
Facebook
that.
on
Hmm.
their channels. That'll be cool.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready to switch over to Clone Wars?
Yeah, let's talk about Shattered.
Good. The show is about to begin.
This week we're continuing with part 3 of the Siege of Mandalore story, and again, I said this at the top of the show, but it just keeps getting better, man. Um, so our episode title is, like we've said, Shattered, and I think the first thing that made me think of, before I even actually watched the show, is, what is shattered? What are we looking at here that's broken? And right off the bat, we get Bo-Katan, and I think her outlook on leadership, or maybe even her ability at that point to be a leader, is kind of broken. Um, she says that she knows war, and she's not sure how to be a different leader than what she is. Uh, which I thought that was very very deep, very interesting, because we know, from Rebels, she does adopt that, and she does, she does adapt to whatever she needs to do. But at this point, she's not sure where she's going, what she needs to do. You know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Another thing that's broken, Ahsoka, her relationship with the council is now finally fully and completely broken. She was given, I think, one last chance there, um, to come back on board, and she decided she was going to be a civilian. That's the route that she needed to go, and Mace Windu let her know that that was final.
Mace Windu
um,
is such a jerk.
he can be, yeah, yeah, he can be. Um, and then we finally saw that scene from the trailer, Ahsoka's view on her role in this whole war in the galaxy, the Jedi's role in all this, where they're supposed to be keepers of the peace, they're not soldiers. We get Rex's view on that, where they wouldn't be here if not for the war. Um,
Yeah, I love that moment of dialogue right there.
yeah, yeah, very good moment. So those were some things I pulled out that broke in this episode. Anything for you?
I just feel like as far as Shattered, you mean, goes,
Yeah,
as far as
yeah.
the title.
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like the galaxy in a way is shattered at this point. I mean, everything with Order 66, everything basically flips on its head and changes the galaxy going forward.
Yeah,
Um, so that's how I kind of looked at it.
absolutely. So one thing that stuck out to me after that, Ahsoka doesn't divulge Maul's revelations about Anakin. She doesn't give that
Yeah,
over to the council, which I thought was interesting.
that was.
What role do you think that might have in events that play out,
Yeah.
as Anakin falls and turns? Um, what role do you think that might have? Do you think that could have changed anything if she'd alerted them?
It's possible. I mean,
Or do you think
because
maybe that may make things worse? I don't know.
it could have gone either way. My thought was, if she had warned the council, then Mace Windu would have been aware of that when he goes to confront Palpatine.
Right.
Um, and maybe he would have brought more Jedi with him or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Um, or been more prepared for, Anakin's turn. I don't
Right.
know. That's kind of
Yeah.
where
I
my
don't know
mind
either.
went.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But just something I was, thinking about as that happened.
Yeah.
I remember it wasn't on our. It was on the MRC Tech show that I've been helping out with. Um, but I remember back in the Revenge of the Sith novel, one of the quotes in there is that this happened in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. These are events that can't be changed. They're already done. It's over. And we're looking back on this. We can't change it. And
Yeah.
we talk about could any of these things change? We want them to change. We want them to be better. But yeah, it's interesting. But these events are done. They're over.
That's a good point.
Kevin Kiner's score just again, man.
Incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was building anticipation for me the whole time,
Hmm.
and I was thinking again how that use of these long notes and just kind of you know makes me just feel something's about to crumble here.
Yeah, it was kind of the very dark
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like just I don't know how else to describe it other than have you seen Blade Runner 2049 before?
yeah. Hmm.
So if you go back and watch that movie and listen to some of those notes and some of that music, it really reminded me a little bit of the music from from the score of Blade Runner
Hmm.
2049 actually. It just
Right.
had this kind of interesting like feel.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And some of it made me feel like this was kind of the calm before the storm,
Mhm.
before things really start taking off. And then, we get some of his usage of some of the Revenge of the Sith themes, a little bit of the immolation of the Jedi in there, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but then before that, with those notes that he's using, just kind of it lets you know that something's about to happen, but it's a little more
Mhm.
pulled back, and then it's just gonna go full throttle after that, which it does.
Yeah, I
So
mean, this just solidified for me even more that I want to see Kevin Kiner in Star Wars, working on Star Wars going forward,
yeah,
and maybe even live action at some point.
interesting. Um, Before we go too far, I wanted to go back to the thing about Ahsoka warning the council, and Cam Ray in chat says that Mace
Hmm.
maybe at that point would have brought back up, which he could have, or
Yeah.
Yoda could have,
Hmm.
forced forced the issue there to make him bring back up. Which yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
Order 66, man, that happens again. We had to live that again, and it was rough.
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, I just relived it in Jedi Fallen Order, and
I know we keep having to
it
go
came into
back to
play
this.
here again.
Let's
Yeah.
just like keep. Let's just keep opening up those old wounds. Why not?
Hmm.
But we had some really nice Revenge of the Sith clips there from the film. Some
Yeah.
of the audio with
Right.
Anakin and everything that happened there. Very interesting that Ahsoka hears that directly. That she has that connection with Anakin. That she can hear
Hmm.
actually, what's going on in that moment. That she feels that part of the story, which was amazing. Uh, and then Rex does turn. I've always wondered how that might happen, and he does.
Hmm.
And he showed this sheer willpower to save Ahsoka there, where you can see him shaking so hard because he doesn't want to do what he's about to do,
Right.
and his hands are shaking. He drops the helmet. The helmet just kind of rolls.
Hmm.
Everything's just very calm, and then he's shaking with his blasters, and it just man, Rex. I love Rex.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how this episode called back to the episodes in the arc of season 6, with the whole clone thing and the chip being in their brain, and I think it was Fives who had
Yeah,
that
fives. Yep.
malfunction. Um, and it kind of
And
called
Rex
back to
tells,
that,
yeah,
but then
Rex.
it also like makes everything make sense when it comes to how we see um Rex in Rebels
Yeah.
and everything as
Hmm.
well. I just loved how that filled in all those kind of missing links that we had.
Yeah, definitely. I kept thinking
Yeah.
that whole time about the older, heavier Rex and with the
Mm-hmm.
beard, and
Yeah.
um I just kept thinking about him as a character in Rebels. This is how we get from here to there. Yeah.
Right.
And then during I call this healing Rex, which I guess it's not really healing, but it's getting that chip out, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, we hear some of the stuff from the wills. I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
Forces with me. Yeah, like I looked over, I saw Brit in my periph. I saw Brittany looking at me like, dude, because she loves Rogue One,
Yeah,
and just hearing that, she was like, man, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
Uh, and I didn't bring this out, but I really loved. I didn't put this on the outline. I mean, but I loved Ahsoka's use of Maul. I
Hmm.
thought that she was going to team up with him there to get them both
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I thought that was about to happen, and I guess maybe I've got a little bit of Maul in me because he thought that was about to happen too. But
Hmm.
she's using him. She's using as
Yeah,
a distraction. She's right. He is chaos. That's all he is.
yeah.
There's no order to what he wants to do or how he does it. He is
Yeah, and
chaos.
she doesn't hide that from Maul. She makes
No,
it
she
pretty
flat
clear
out
that,
tells
hey,
him, "Go do your thing. Go
yeah,
cause a
do your thing.
distraction because that's all you do anyway. So just go
Yeah,
do it." I
yeah.
loved it.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So we got one more episode, and then it's all over. I
Man.
can't believe it.
Me neither. I mean, this is
This was a fast 12 weeks.
this
It went quick.
episode, not only that, this episode flew by.
Yeah.
Um, I absolutely love this episode. I love this arc. I love how it's going side by side with the events of Revenge of the Sith, and
Oh,
we're
did you
seeing
see?
a different point of view of it, you know?
Yeah, I saw something on Twitter, and I think it was Twitter, but it was like a side by side of those events in Revenge of the
I
Sith
didn't
and
see
what
that,
happened here, and it's
but
like
that's
it's
awesome.
like yeah, it like lines up really
Yeah.
well, if not perfectly.
Yeah.
So
I love when any story that has different characters
yeah,
looking at something we know that happened but in a different light, in a
hmm
different way, and it connects into it. I love that stuff. So this is not only the best anim- animated Star Wars that I've seen, in my opinion, um, but it's also, I think, even better than some of the live action stuff we've gotten, to be honest.
yeah,
I
I
think it's
can't
just
disagree.
incredible, you know. Um,
The after the first two episodes of this arc, I was trying to hold back on saying that this is the best Clone Wars arc that they've ever done or best
mhm.
animation arc that they've ever done, but it might be.
Yeah, I mean, unless they blow the last episode, like
Yeah.
it has to be. So
Um,
yeah.
do you have any thoughts about where we're going to go from here? I mean, we've already had Order 66. We've already, that stuff
Right,
has already happened. Do you have any thoughts about where we're going from here?
right. I mean, somehow we're gonna have to see, I think, Maul
Yeah,
being maybe some kind of tie to the to Crimson Dawn or something like that
right.
potentially. Um, I don't think Ahsoka is going to necessarily see Anakin as Darth Vader because, like,
Do you think
she
that?
in
Yeah, I
Rebels
don't think so either. Right.
she doesn't really know, does she? Until
No, it doesn't feel that way
right.
because she
Um,
feels him later, and then she when she
yeah.
finally meets up with him, she
But I
gets that
do think
confirmation.
we could see Anakin in the suit or something like that at the
You think
end.
we'll see Vader?
Um,
There was
I
some
think
talk
so.
about that a few weeks ago, and I don't think we
Hmm.
talked about it, but yeah, there was some talk that Vader might appear.
I think we could see that. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Any thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard for me to predict this stuff because it hasn't been exactly what I thought, and it's been,
Right.
which is weird because you know how this story ends,
Hmm.
but it hasn't been exactly how I thought it would happen, and it's been a little bit of a surprise each way, for each episode. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Roar Farm Boy in the chat says maybe this is where Palpatine's other use for Maul comes up.
Yeah. I think that could make sense. Him being, the leader of the crime syndicates and
Hmm.
everything like that, or at least, Crimson Dawn. Um, so yeah. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just excited to see the final episode and to see
I'm
what happens.
excited and I'm
Original,
not. I just don't want this to
yeah,
end
it's
again.
bittersweet.
I know.
Um, I mean, I think
It's like this is like we
originally,
can't go any farther with Clone Wars. The Clone Wars are over, so
no,
it's like
Clone Wars are over now.
would I
Yeah.
love to see more episodes? Yeah, but I mean
Hmm.
this is it. It has to be the end, and that's kind of
Right,
sad. That's been Clone
for
Wars has
sure.
been off and on for how many years, and now it's officially done.
Yeah, probably like 12 years or so.
Yeah,
Um, Originally, I thought this arc was going to lead up to the events of Revenge of the Sith.
yeah.
I
I didn't.
didn't think it
Right,
was going to have
it's
overlap, which
concurrent.
is
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed that. So,
I have too. That's hard to do.
hmm,
Tell a
yeah,
story that way. But
for
yeah,
sure.
I've been blown away by that. Just seeing how it intertwines. Just from learning, when Anakin has killed Dooku, and you realize then, okay, this is happening like right during
Hmm.
those events. That's yeah, pretty cool. And see the meeting with the council there, with Windu and Yoda.
Yeah.
When they're starting to talk about Palpatine. Um,
Hmm.
so
Great stuff. And
great stuff, indeed.
yeah, I mean, it just makes me so excited too to go back and watch Revenge of the Sith and to
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
Rebels
hmm
and stuff like that too. So that's where I'm gonna be heading next.
yeah. I'm actually last night I started with Phantom Menace again, and then I'm gonna start going through everything now.
Yep,
Now that it's all there, I'm going through it all. So
absolutely. And
for
speaking
the first
of
time, like think
Ahsoka,
about this. Like for the first time since we started with this timeline with the prequels back in 97, 99, 99, we have a full, complete story
right,
up to the
right.
Anakin's fall. The rise of the
Hmm.
Empire. We have that full story now for the first time ever. You know,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
So I mean, I think anybody that takes issue with Disney and
Yeah,
buying Lucasfilm and
yeah,
everything has to consider the fact that we have some great things that have come out of it, even if there's some things you didn't like. You know,
and
so.
yeah. I was gonna say
Mhm.
more, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, because I can.
Yeah. So
Uh,
speaking of Maul and
yeah.
Ahsoka,
Let's just go. Get me out of here,
we're
Josh.
going to dive into the psychology of these two characters in our up next segment.
Luke,
Give me
you're
some
going to
kind of
find that
cue.
many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view.
God.
So Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul are two characters in Star Wars that have been expanded throughout the years. When you think about Ahsoka, she kind of started out as an annoying teenager that many fans didn't like. She wasn't
Hmm.
very well received in the beginning, um, especially like with the Clone Wars movie and then like season one and stuff like that. Um, but Ahsoka's really grown and matured into a fan favorite through the Clone Wars and Rebels, and we may be seeing her in live action as well
Hmm.
in either
Yep.
The Mandalorian or her own spinoff series, or maybe both.
Indeed.
Um, Now, Darth Maul was an instant favorite villain, I think it's fair to say, who met an untimely end in The Phantom Menace, but he was brought back to life in the Clone Wars and Rebels, and also appeared in Solo as the head of Crimson Dawn. So, the first thing I wanted to look at, Adam, is how are these characters similar and how are they different? So,
Yeah, I wanted to
Maul,
look at that too. I'm glad you put that, because
yeah,
it was the last episode. I think it was the Phantom Apprentice where that was brought up, where we talked about that a little bit.
yeah, and
About
Maul
how
even mentions
mhm,
like how they're similar.
one
So,
of his
you
28
know,
soliloquies in that episode.
yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Did you want to attack that question of how do you feel that these two characters are similar?
Oh boy. Yeah. I think you put a little bit of that here in
Yeah,
the
I'll
outline, but
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
I'll
and
talk about what I had here, and if you want to comment on it,
yeah, go for it. Go for
go
it,
for
because
it.
I think you outlined some of my main thoughts here.
Okay. So as Maul mentioned in Phantom Apprentice, both of these characters were basically kind of cast aside or rejected by their respective order, whether it be the Sith or the Jedi. And they kind of had to both choose new paths for themselves. That's how I see that they're similar. Do you see any other similarities between these two characters?
Well, I think that about covers it. I was kind of
Hmm.
gonna say something about them, and it really falls under carving new paths for themselves. But they're kind of the in betweeners, I guess.
Yeah,
Where Ahsoka chooses the light, but not to align herself with the Order.
with the Jedi Order.
Um, Maul doesn't really have a choice. He's been cast out by the Sith, but
Hmm.
he has continued down his dark path,
Yeah.
but not so closely. Um, so yeah, I would say that they have that similarity where they're both still aligned with how they want to be aligned, but they're kind of walking more of a middle road. If that makes any sense.
It does. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think we can look at how they're different, because even though they have some similarities, and Maul was trying to use those similarities to get Ahsoka to join him in taking down the Emperor, which she was tempted by. The one thing that separated them in that moment was that Maul wanted to take Anakin out. Um, in order to get back at the Emperor and not let him get what he wants. And Ahsoka, of course, was not going to let that happen.
Right.
So, how are these two characters different in other ways? Well, I think Ahsoka tends to be
Yeah.
selfless,
Yeah.
um, and Maul has kind of selfish motivations. Um, do you see any other differences between these two?
Uh, Other than like I said before, with how they align themselves, where Ahsoka, like you said, she is definitely aligning herself with the light, even if she's not aligning herself with the Order that claims to guard that light.
Hmm.
Um, and Maul's definitely just out for himself, power
Yeah,
or you mentioned
revenge.
revenge.
Hmm.
He has his own agenda. We see with with the thing with Anakin and Obi-Wan, where he wants to deprive Palpatine of his next apprentice.
Hmm.
He's out for his own reasons. Even if he wants those reasons to be, he doesn't want those reasons. Even if those reasons are actually maybe a little bit right, maybe Palpatine doesn't need Anakin. So
Right.
depriving him of Anakin is a good thing, but not by killing Anakin. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, he's motivated in his own way, definitely in a negative, dark light.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of motivations, Adam, that brings us to my next question about the psychology of these characters, and that is, what motivates them? What motivates Maul? What motivates Ahsoka? I think we've talked a little bit about what motivates Maul, and that is, he's motivated by greed. If we look
Yeah.
at the crime syndicate situation, the Crimson Dawn situation, just being in control of something, um, being in control of that underworld, since he can't be a Sith.
Hmm.
So there's
Right.
definitely some greed there. I think he's also very highly motivated by revenge, whether that revenge
Oh
is
yeah, yeah,
towards Palpatine or towards Kenobi.
yeah.
His
That's really only
soul.
like that. Yeah, well, I think we were just gonna say that. That's really his only reason. After he's been brought back to life, that's his only reason for anything anymore is
Right,
revenge.
revenge.
Hmm.
Um, but what about Ahsoka? I mean, I think Ahsoka is generally motivated by doing what's right, um, even if it breaks the rules at times. Um, what do you think motivates Ahsoka, Adam?
Yeah, I think like you said, doing the right thing. Whether or not, um, that goes for or against what she's been trained to do.
Hmm.
She has this. She has this moral compass, and she adheres to that. Um, and it's weird because in a lot of ways, I think maybe she's learned a lot of that from Anakin.
Hmm.
Where he was kind of the same
Yeah.
way, and even Obi-Wan to a degree. Obi-Wan hasn't always done what he's been told to do.
Mm-hmm.
He flat out says in episode 1 that he's going to train Anakin with or without the approval of the council.
Yep.
And I think as he was on the council and saw some of the inner workings, I think he knew where the line was, and he knew where he had to dance along that line. And I think Ahsoka learned a lot of that from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think naturally she just has that inner moral compass that keeps her, that she adheres to.
So Adam, your segues here are brilliant because
I'm trying.
we're really talking about morality
right.
next, and thinking about what makes people make the decisions that they make. And in college, I studied developmental theory from Lawrence Kohlberg, who has a theory of moral development and how we make the choices that we make. And I'm going to talk a little bit about all those stages, and we're going to try to place these characters, Ahsoka and Maul, into one of these stages. Are you up for that?
Absolutely.
All right. So stage 1 basically is avoiding punishment. So, we think about very small children. They don't want to get punished. They don't want to get a timeout. They don't want to get spanked, whatever it might be. So they're making their choices based on avoiding punishment. So that's stage 1. Stage 2, you're making choices to gain rewards. Like, if you do this, you're going to get a prize. We use this in school a lot with younger kids. Kind of that positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but like in material form, getting something,
Right.
candy, toy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Stage 3 is when you start to make choices based on gaining the approval of others.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like social rewards, things like, hey, good job, you did great, proud of you.
Yeah.
Hearing those
Being
things from
noticed.
another person
Yeah.
motivates you.
Right.
Then we go to stage 4, and this is, when you get more towards the later teenage years to maybe adult, law and order, and that is fixed rules. Like if we think about the
Not the
Jedi
TV show.
Code. No, not the TV show.
Dun, dun.
But it's a great noise. But like following the rules, you're very motivated by it. This is the law. I have to follow it. It's black and white. That's it. Following the Jedi Code to the T, basically, in the Star Wars universe, would be stage 4. And then stage 5 is all about mutual benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that morally right and legally right aren't always the same thing. Like sometimes you might have to make a choice that is against the law in order to be morally right. If a law
Right.
doesn't make sense, you don't necessarily follow it. If something in the Jedi Code doesn't make sense, you don't. And that's when I kind of think about like a character like Qui-Gon or somebody like that, maybe being in this stage. And then
Interesting.
the
Okay.
final stage is stage 6, and that is morality is based on peace and harmony. So it's all about just creating this harmony with all the people and peace and love and all these things. So thinking about people like Mother Teresa, Gandhi, like those types of individuals.
Okay.
People have described Jesus being as like a stage 6 person.
Okay.
And so some people never get to some of these stages. I mean, you might even have adults who are in stage 2. I mean, who knows? So,
I like to get
what?
rewards.
Yeah, who doesn't? So what stage do you think Maul is in, and what stage do you think Ahsoka is in? If you need me to kind of go back over any of these stages, I can. But
for Ahsoka, I keep looking at stage 5.
yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
I don't think she's making decisions based on peace and harmony, although I think that's her
Right.
goal.
Yeah.
Where she says, I think that's her goal. But I think she's kind of stuck in this phase of her life, where you talked about the morally right and the legally right, especially where we see what happened to her leading up to leaving the council and then dealing with the fallout of that, which is very much where she's at right now. So I would put her around that stage 5.
I agree completely. That's where I would have placed her as well. I think sometimes she's making those choices that would go against the Jedi code, but she knows it's the right thing to do. I
Yeah.
think we see that a lot from her character, even in her recent arc with Trace and Rafa and everything. I think we see some of that as well.
In her early days, I would put her in stage 3.
Hmm. Yeah, because she wanted
She's
that
looking for that
approval of like
approval of Anakin.
Anakin
Yeah,
of the council, stuff like that. Hmm.
right.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
cool.
interesting if you look back in over Clone Wars, and I think there's times where you can see her in stage 4. She's
Hmm.
very worried about the law, about the Jedi code.
Yep.
Where she's not making decisions like she is right now. So
Right.
you kind
And
of see her development a little bit over these 7 seasons.
definitely. And I'm also seeing in the chat that Cam Ray is agreeing with us on stage
Stage
5 for
5.
Ahsoka.
Yep.
What about Maul? Where would you place Maul
I
in
have
the
an
stages of
idea on Maul,
World Development?
but how about you go first? Because I think I know where I'll put him, but I want to see what you say.
I would put Maul in stage 2.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I think it's all about gaining things for him, whether it's
Yeah,
gaining revenge, gaining
yeah,
power,
those are his rewards.
greed. Um, so I would place Maul in stage 2. Um, and
Yeah,
and
I
I
can.
think
Yeah.
that's where we see the major difference between these two characters. So even though
Hmm.
they have some similarities, they've been through similar things on each side of their own respective order, Sith, Jedi. I think what separates them really is maybe their moral code, their moral development, and the choices they ultimately make.
Yeah, and Cam is with us again, stage 2.
Hmm.
We
All
nailed it.
right. Awesome. So we have just once again dug into the psychology of characters from Star Wars and looked at Ahsoka and Maul. Anything further you want to add, Adam?
No, I just want to say I between doing this for Kylo Ren and now doing it for Maul and Ahsoka, I like
Hmm.
these segments.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this again.
Yeah. We'll
I
continue
don't know
this
who
with
we're
some
gonna.
other
Yeah, I
characters.
don't know
And
who we're gonna pick up next, but I like this.
yeah,
I like this segment.
yes, absolutely. All right. I think that does it for the psychology segment.
Yeah, you ready to wrap up episode 27?
Let's do it.
I'm just glad you're here. At the end.
Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with us in the live chat. If you were here, I know we had Cam Ray, Rural Farm Boy, 2Med2, and thank you for hanging out with us, like I just said. So I'll cut that out later. But so if you're listening live, if you're watching live, and if you're listening but not subscribed, make sure you do that for us. We're on most major podcatchers, including iTunes, where if you are listening to us there or have iTunes installed on your computer, you can leave us a review, which really helps us get out to everybody, to get more people seeing what we're doing here and what kind of content we're putting out. Check out the website from a certain point of view.com, where we do blog articles, and you can find all the ways you can get in touch with us. We didn't have too many blog articles this week. I was really focusing on the May 4th show, which we're going to be putting out in just, this will come out on Sunday, so that means the very next day we'll have a second episode, a bonus episode, where we're going to be sharing what Star Wars means to everyone. So, socials. Twitter, like we said, Twitter has been amazing this past week, even this past 24 hours. But that is certain POV pod. Facebook is from a certain point of view. A Discord server. The link for that is in the show notes and on the website. And like I said, we're only 1 week into Alphabet Squadron now. Plenty of time to catch up if you want to join in with us and read along with us and discuss with us. We just read chapters 1 and 2 this week. We're going to dig into a few more chapters this coming week. So perfect time to jump into the book club if you're interested. Email is certainpovpod@gmail.com. We've actually gotten a few emails this week, which has been fun. And anchor.fm, where we have also gotten our first voicemails this week. So you guys are going to get to hear all of that stuff on Monday. As far as anything else that we do on the internet, you can find me on Twitter at thegauze85. That's where you can find most of my stuff. That's where I'm most active for sure. I also write for farfarawaynews.com. This past week, I had an article come out where I talked about training younglings, so definitely head on over and check that out. Josh, why don't you tell everyone else you're up, tell everyone what else you are up to, and where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Twitter at JediJarJar1722. And you can find me writing articles on Movie Newsnet and Star Wars Newsnet. And I just got to say that I am really looking forward to our special May the 4th episode and seeing what Star Wars means to everybody, because that is why we are here. That is why we do this, because Star Wars means so much to us, and we know it means a lot to you as well. Anything else to add to the show today, Adam?
No, just once again, thanks everyone for the 300 followers on Twitter. We're super excited about that. And thanks for hanging out in the live chat. Thanks everyone for listening. If you're listening out there in a podcast, don't be afraid to subscribe to us on YouTube and join us on a Saturday afternoon and see what we're doing live. In general, just thanks to everyone. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and sometimes thanks just doesn't feel like enough to just say. So,
Agreed.
And Pizza and Parsecs just joined us, and thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. I got your voicemail for Monday. I can't wait to play it. So glad you're here. But in general, just wanted to say thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and be looking out for that special May the 4th episode. And I hope everybody really enjoys their May the 4th and celebrates Star Wars in any way you can. And everything that we told you today was true.
From a certain point of view. Awesome.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, Pizza and Parsecs. I'm not sure if I'm talking to Liv or Dave, but don't worry about it. We're glad you're just
no
here.
worries. No worries.
Glad you're just here.
We're here every Saturday.
Oh, nice game. That was a good episode. Pizza
I
and
wish I
Parsecs
could
hanging out with the Galactic Podcast. That was a good
Wish
episode.
I could have been on that one.
Oh yeah, when the girls joined us too. Yeah.
I was really excited about that one. I just really wasn't feeling good that day.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. So that is episode 27. We are done. Under an hour. We did all right.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good
Cool.
pace.
Agreed. I really do love those Psychology of episodes.
Yeah. Obviously, I enjoy them as well. I'm a little biased, but
someone said Palpatine might be next. Was that Cam?
Yeah, I'm all about
diving
into the psychology of Palpatine. That'd be cool.
That would be an interesting one. That would be a dark one.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you have that background that you can pull out all the
theories and stuff.
And theories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, chat. I think we're gonna end it here. We've got some editing to do now and some other recording stuff to do, so I think we're gonna call it a day. And
thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah. Can't thank you guys enough. We'll be back at it next Saturday. And enjoy the episode tomorrow. Enjoy the May 4th episode on Monday. Hope you guys all like it. And very excited.
Yeah, and until next time, may the 4th and the Force be with you.
Yeah.